Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And today we'll be talking about how WWE can revive the concept of Money in the Bank. Because ever since Triple H took over, it seems like Money in the Bank has died year by year, from Austin Theory cashing in on the U.S. title and losing that match to just recently former four or five-time world champion Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank to become a six-time world champion or something like that. A guy that's had the world title 5 times, before or five at that point, he doesn't need Money in the Bank. Cash in on a mid-card title just to lose it doesn't make sense. They nailed it when they only won it. Tiffany Stratton, you probably could have put Chelsea Green in that spot and had her win and built up Tiffany a bit more because the reign didn't pay off to what WWE thought it would be. In theory, it wasn't a terrible decision at the time, so I'm not going to talk about that one too much, but Chelsea Green probably would have benefited more since she had the better character at the time than Tiffany Stratton. So it probably would have made more sense to just give it to Chelsea Green. But I'm going to talk about how WWE can fix Money in the Bank. And I think one of the biggest things is you have to go back to what it was meant for. You have to build you have to establish new stars, like a Damian Priest wanted it when he did. That was a cool win. Then he ended up cashing in, had a successful cash in, held the title for a little bit. Wasn't a terrible reign. Excuse me. Had a decent reign with the world title. But I think because I don't think they need to get rid of it. I just think it needs a few adjustments to make it feel special and feel like what it should be. For every 10 years, have 80% of the winners be people who haven't won world titles. You can't have a lot of world champions winning Money in the Bank. This is one of the best and easiest ways to establish new stars and make some of the mid-card talents feel more important. Now, I wouldn't put champions in there, like a guy that's IC champion or U.S. champion or tag champion, whether that's in the men's or women's division. I wouldn't put them in there and they need to focus on their championship. I hate the double champion thing, then having a championship and Money in the Bank. It's like just focus on the title you have. So I wouldn't put any champions in there, but I think one story you could tell is Slash Legend and Nia Jax. They win the tag titles. It's going to be impossible for them to lose it. So, but just based off their strength alone and how powerful they are. So the way they lose it, and I would just say that they lose it to Rhea and Io because I think that'll make the most sense. But the way they could lose it is just their egos are too big to coexist with each other. Being champions, being two of the more dominant women, they eventually going to clash at some point. And I feel like Rhea and Io, that's the perfect babyface tag team for them to lose to and fully crumble against. And then Lash going to win Money in the Bank after just being one half of the women's tag champions. It's an instant elevation from the mid-card scene to the main event scene. And I think for somebody like a Dominic, he can win Money in the Bank at one point in like 2027. After he dropped both of those titles and he struggles off like most of 2026, he got to rebuild himself in 2027, have a new. Like I'm assuming he'll be a babyface soon, so have something new. Like even if he's a babyface from 2026 to 2027 have something new to his character that'll make it worth it, and you can build him up. Like he's a world champion, but he's a AAA world champion, not a WWE world champion, so that's completely different. But I could see him being built up to win Money in the Bank in around 2027. Now, as far as former champions goes, should former world champions win Money in the Bank? Yes, but it's only a certain way they can do it. Like it can't be a consistent thing where it's like, oh, Seth Rollins, let's put the Money on the Bank on him. Or the perfect example of a former world champion winning Money in the Bank is Naomi for the women's division, because she was a world champion in the past. But this character, it's a new character arc. It was a completely different character, and she had a way better story going into this. So, and it happened a few years. Well, it happened like 8 years after she was initially a world champion in WWE. So something like that could work, but it only depends on the story of going into that match. Like it should happen from time to time, but it should be really rare. Like you got to have a really fleshed out story. Like for the women's division, something I think could work is Becky versus Charlotte. If they want to keep doing that storyline and proving who's the greatest of all time between them two for the women's division, have that be proven by whoever gets everything first. Obviously, Charlotte got the most world titles, but it's still other stuff like you got the Royal Rumble, which I think both of them won already. It's like whoever able to accomplish everything first, they can use that as to why they're the GOAT or you could have, and it don't matter who wins it. I think you couldn't go wrong either way. So I think Charlotte would be a good one. But it all depends on the story. Like, it don't got to be soon. They could be down the line when they get in, like in a few more years, because it's like you obviously got to build up some of the newer women. If you were to retell that story, because Becky and Charlotte are gonna have another feud, I feel like at some point in WWE, you wanted to predicate that story around them being the GOAT. Had that be who's ever able to win everything first. And then for the men, I could see a Cody Rhodes in 2029. He's already a 2-time WWE champion, but I think the only way it could work is if he has to struggle. He has to, after he loses at WrestleMania, this upcoming WrestleMania 42, which I'm assuming he had to struggle to get wins against guys like Obafemi, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Roman. And then he turns heel after losing to the Usos. I don't know who his tag team partner would be in a match versus the Usos. That's not important at the moment. But after he loses to the Usos and he gets pinned by Jay, have him turn heel. And then he does a story versus management. I don't know if he'll be on SmackDown all that time, but if he's on Raw, have him tell a story versus Adam Pearce. And then Adam Pearce forces him. He says he had to win 5 straight matches to get into Money in the Bank in 2029. And that's what he does. I think at that point, Cody wouldn't have had a champion. He could go 3 years without having a championship. Have these stories with the guys I mentioned. Struggle to get wins. Like, he'll get a few wins here and there, but it's going to be a struggle for him to get wins against some of those top guys that I mentioned. Like, he's going to lose a lot of the important matches. And then the least important match he's going to lose is going to feature something with the Usos. I don't know. Like, it can happen. It can happen. Like, maybe Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints. Maybe he's caught up at that point, and Cody and Ricky Saints lose to the Usos, and that's how Cody finally turns heel in WWE. And then he ends up winning Money in the Bank after winning those 5 matches, with that last one being against Ricky Saints. And then the last thing that I think could help Money in the Bank, that could revive Money in the Bank, is the way that cash-ins happen. Because it feels like it's really been the same. Like, it's going to be on a pay-per-view, and actually the teasing, the cash-in, that got to stop. We don't need that. Like, obviously, it's going to happen every once in a while, but we don't need to see a tease of it every week. But I think just having cash-ins in different places will be more entertaining. Because the whole concept and purpose of Money in the Bank is that you can cash in anywhere, at any place, and any time. So for 2026, I would have somebody get cashed in their house. It don't matter what they're doing. They can be washing dishes and get cashed in on and just lose the title. But for the women, I would have somebody cash in during the Crown Jewel Championship match. I don't know who's going to be champions going to the Crown Jewel in 2026, but it's unpredictable because you don't know if Lash had it, she could cash in on anybody. I prefer be on SmackDown, because then you can't tell the same story back-to-back years. So Naomi wasn't able to win on SmackDown, so she went to Raw. Can't tell that same story, so that's how I do that. Have somebody cash in during the Crown Jewel Championship match. In 2027, if somebody has like a gardening gimmick, have them get. I don't know how that'll work in 2027, but have them get cash in while working on their garden for the men, and then for the women, opening match at WrestleMania night 2, kick it off with a bang. Have whoever the Women's World Champion get cashed in on. The 2028 for the men's, I'll have a backstage segment for WrestleMania and have somebody get cashed in there instead of doing a post-match or a mid-match, because that's something we've seen before, post-match and mid-match, but we haven't seen a backstage segment at WrestleMania where somebody got cashed in on. Then for the women, I would just have one of the women get cashed in on in the bedroom. Simple. 2029 inside the Elimination Chamber match. So WWE does what I'm hoping they do and bring back championship matches in the Elimination Chamber. Have somebody cash in an Elimination Chamber 1 year with the championship on the line, because nobody will be expecting it. And you don't even know how. And if it's still 5 people in the ring, I guess if all 6 women are in the ring, then that person comes in there and cashes in. I'm pretty sure they still got to go through everybody. So that could be something entertaining. So you could do that for the men or the women. But I think it'd be super entertaining if the men did it, because I think that'll cause a lot of controversy. Then for the women, I would just have somebody get cashed in on in the laundry room. Then for 2030, do something in the grocery store. go to a Walmart or something, rent it out for like 30 minutes, and then get a few paid actors to be shopping. Then somebody gets cashed in the grocery store. Imagine Cody Rhodes, his third world title reign, that it ends because he gets cashed in Walmart looking for cereal. And then for the women, I would have somebody get cashed in on mid-contract signing. I don't think that's something we've seen before. Mid-contract signing and cash in happens. So what happens to the supposed match that we were supposed to have? Does it become a triple threat? Who knows? But before the next 5 years, that's what I do as far as cash in goes for the men and women. Have it happen in different places. Like still do some on like in the arena, like whether it's a backstage segment, opening match of Mania inside the Elimination Chamber. Like, yeah, still do something in the arena, but do some entertaining ones outside the arena that could build to the story. Like, they don't have to be the end of it when they get cashed in on. Because if some dude has a gardening gimmick and he gets cashed in on, that could be entertaining as hell. Now, I would have to really think about who could have a gardening gimmick in 2027, but that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But with these steps, I think Money in the Bank could be revived and serve its purpose. Because the last few years, it hasn't been great. But I think it can get back to that. If you just have 80 for every 10 years, 80% of the winners can't be former world champions. Like the Jey Uso winning Money in the Bank, that'd be like 4 years too late. You could have had him winning when he was on the poster, and the whole Royal Rumble situation wouldn't have happened. And then if former world champions do win it, well, when they do win it, because it's always a guarantee a few former world champions gonna win it. You gotta have a real fleshed out story. It can't just be, oh, I have a faction now. I'm a 5-time world champion. I'm gonna win the Elimination Chamber. That don't make sense. Or I'm Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna just walk into the match, and I'm Mustafa Ali, and I'm gonna just be like, oh, I can't do nothing. Could have grabbed the briefcase. And then the cash-ins, they got to happen in different places sometimes. Like, it can't always be post-match or pre-match. Like, it's other stuff you can do with it. The whole concept is cash in anytime, any place, anywhere. Make it more memorable by cashing in different places each year. And obviously still doing something in the arena. Don't completely go away from having cash-ins during matches. But make it more entertaining. But with that being said, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, and share for others to see.